Today, I'm going to show you how I use TrendTrack to research niche opportunities and high potential products that I could add to my dropshipping stores using SEO and Google Ads. We're going to see a lot of stores come up. I apologize in advance if your store gets leaked through the various filters and what I share in this video. It's not targeted. Even some of my own stores and products will show up anyway. In general, we often see the same things come up. If you don't know TrendTrack yet, it's a powerful tool that lets you analyze all Shopify stores, see which ones are making the most money, check what products they're selling, which ones are selling the most, and which ad creatives are performing best. So it's the perfect tool for e-commerce entrepreneurs who want to keep an eye on their competitors or find new business opportunities. Of course, it's a paid tool. You can use the promo code PING20 to get 10% off. And by the way, they also have a completely free Chrome extension that already lets you do quite a bit of analysis. Actually, I'm going to use it in this video as well. Here we are on the trending shops feature of TrendTrack, which for me is the tool I use most often and most regularly on this site, simply because I really enjoy searching for opportunities, finding niches and high potential products that I could add to my site and run Google Ads on to sell easily. Here, we can quickly find shops with great niches simply by using some very powerful filters and a bit of analysis. For example, here we have the option to filter by the origin of the site. For instance, we know that quite a few dropshippers like to move to Estonia. Well, we can try to use this filter to find the stores that have the ones that get the most traffic and are based in Estonia. We can also try searching for sites in Estonia that mainly sell in France, whose visitors are French. And here, for example, we'll find different sites. Here we have quite a few lingerie sites. This one with the little prince, Iris Lingerie. We also have a site about overalls. We also have everything related to hair growth, hair serums. Those always work well in cosmetics. We have everything related to acupressure mats. There you go. That's the kind of product I used to sell quite a lot back in the day. And after quite a bit of analysis, we'll be able to see whether it's worth getting into or not and whether it's drop shipping. Here, for example, by going to the first site, we see this kind of bra. We can use the AliTool Chrome extension to see if it's a product that comes from AliExpress. Here, in this case, we do find it. We can see that the product here costs €7 and that on the site, they're able to sell it for about €47. So they're making a €40 margin, which is more than enough if they want to run ads to sell their product. And on top of that, we're going to see whether this site is actually performing well or not. Well, it gets an estimated 70,000 visits per month according to the Chrome extension TrendTrack. Of course, that's just an estimate. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. And we're also going to look at what their best sellers are. Here we can see that it's this bra that's doing really well and making quite a lot of sales. But we can also see that the fleece tights here are in the top 2 best sellers. And we know that this kind of product works really well during Q4 and can sell very well. We can also browse their ads library on Facebook here. We see that they have 140 active ads. It's mainly through this acquisition channel that they make most of their sales. And with the TrendTrack extension, we'll be able to reveal all the ad spend for these advertising campaigns here. This might take a little time. Once it's done, you can scroll back to the top and sort by ad spend to see which ads are performing best, get inspired by them, and try to figure out which product they're currently advertising. And so that's potentially their current winning product, and maybe add it to your own store if you want to try selling it. There you go, the ad spend reveal is finished. Now we can filter by total ad spend. And here we have all the top performing ads at the moment or over the long term. Here we have a product for a backless bra. We have a product for nipple covers, and here again, more backless bra products. Well, it's mainly these 2 products that are trending right now. So that's it for this site. Now let's look at TrendTrack. We also found other lingerie stores like this one. And here too, you can quickly find the product that's selling the best. Apparently it's this one. Here you can even see that on AliExpress, they're making a lot of sales, 320 orders, 200 orders, and they have good reviews, nice photos, and they're reselling it for a really high price here, €67 for the set, while you can find it for €15 on Ali. It's a really great niche with a lot of margin and a high perceived value. The lace niche, for example, works very well in SEO, but it can be difficult to make it work with Google Ads because with products that are a bit revealing like this, they rarely get approved by Merchant Center or your Google Shopping campaign might not run. But what we can see here is that apparently they're doing very well with Facebook ads. Same thing, 130 active ads. Also, don't hesitate for each of the sites you find to analyze customer reviews a bit, whether it's on Trustpilot to find other competitors or to see what the product quality is like for what you're selling to determine whether you'd be interested in selling this type of product or not. For example, Iris Lingerie here that we found, we can quickly find competitors. Are they doing the same thing or not? Are they doing better than them or not? And that way you can draw inspiration from the best. Here we have this product, this store, Naked, which I think sells the same thing. We can quickly see what their best sellers are as well. And actually, we're simply going to look for the best sellers from each of the stores. Here we can see, for example, that leather harnesses work really well in the sexy lingerie niche. So that's exactly the kind of product you absolutely need to add. Same goes for anything like bodysuits like this one, etc. Here we also have Pelly, which apparently has very bad reviews, probably due to very poor customer service. But we can also see that it has some interesting products to add, like the same harness, for example. So we know that this is potentially a winning product, except that they get more traffic, while Naked, on the other hand, is currently experiencing strong growth in this kind of niche. You analyze the reviews a bit, you look at the winning products, and you add them to your niche store. So you can see that what works here is a niche store, not a single product store. Each of the sites we've looked at has a lot of products. Here there are 150. On Iris, there are 120. On Pelly, well, they're not doing so well, but they have 900. So these are big niche stores. And that's why even I do this with dropshipping, SEO, and Google ads, and it works well. And apparently on Facebook ads too, since they seem to be running meta ads. Next, here, the Trustpilot of the first site we looked at, the Little Prince here, we can see that they also sometimes have negative reviews, which clearly shows that it's dropshipping, etc. And that can reassure you because sometimes they have real reviews or fake reviews that help boost their rating. And you can also find other competitors here who browse the review site to see what they're selling and check if it's the same niche or not. Here we have Nina Perfect Skin, for example, and we can see that they sell lingerie that's a bit different. Here it looks like it's all about strapless and backless items, which also works. That's what we saw on the first store. Here, this allows us to see another winning product to add to a potential lingerie store. Here we also have a store focused on overalls, which we'll quickly analyze to see what conclusions we can draw and whether it's an interesting store or not. We'll see that on TrendTrack. It's quite steady, pretty consistent. Let's take a look at their best sellers here. However, we can see that they have 0 active live ads in the library. So in principle, most of their traffic generally, if it's not from Facebook ads, will come from Google ads, SEO, and maybe other acquisition channels like TikTok or Pinterest. Here, what we're going to see is that by analyzing the keyword salopette on Alloscan, which allows us to get the estimated monthly volume for this keyword at 16,600 visits per month. It's really interesting to target this in SEO if you can manage to be in the top 2 or at least top 3. And that's what we can see, by the way, that for him, Salopet is ranked number 1, and he must be bringing in a huge amount of free organic traffic and therefore making quite a bit of money thanks to this niche for overalls. Next, you shouldn't hesitate to do some research on Google as well to see what's showing up in Google Ads. Here we can see that Passion Velours is selling women's overalls. So we also have Salopet that is ranking as well. So there are a few competitors, and we can clearly see that the traffic here is coming from Google Ads, with Salopet showing up quite a lot. And here we see that he's ranking number 2 for Salopet Home. And for just Salopet by itself, he's ranking number 1, as was shown on Alloscan. So there's huge potential in this niche, and it seems to be working really well for him. We can see that the total estimated monthly volume for these queries exceeds 30,000 per month. This is exactly what I recommend in the training and what I tell you every time. So this is the kind of niche that should be very profitable in SEOC. So I'm trying to explain to you a bit how I go about analyzing whether a niche has potential or not. Then you can play around with the filter to find even more opportunities. For example, it's not just Estonia where people move abroad. Sometimes people set up LLCs in the United States, LLPs in the UK. Sometimes they go to Dubai, Bangkok, and so on. You can take advantage of this to use the filters smartly. Then, for example, you can even do this by combining it with the choice of themes, which is quite powerful since people often use the same theme, especially the most well-known one for Facebook ads, which is Shrine. It's used a lot, and by using it, you can find other niche opportunities. Here we have boxers, and if we scroll a bit for sites selling in France, we have Éclat de Femmes with perfumes, which kind of copied the brand Venom perfume, I think something like that, which was doing really well and making millions in annual revenue. So don't hesitate to play around with the filters, play with the location. Remember, it's not just about France, you should go worldwide. We know that the Netherlands is also pretty active in drop shipping, so maybe they have quite a few shops over there. Maybe you should filter by the origin of that country. In SEO, if you want to find niche ideas, well, there was everything around the Reborn theme back in the day, the Billionaire, and also Speedfly, which works really well and is great for SEO, or at least it was back then. There's the paddle niche, and if we scroll down quickly, we have everything like bandanas, cowboy belts, all kinds of bracelets and teapots from around the world. That one's really good, a very strong niche. It generates a lot of revenue. There's also Celtic Viking bracelets, a great vintage niche, and everything related to sex stories, which also worked quite well in SEO. More Viking stuff coming up again. And then there are a couple bracelets which also work pretty well. There's the Gothic niche with quite a lot of options, anything with a snake motif like snake boots, snake leather, and so on. It's pretty good, it works quite well. All right, so that's SEO, but we're not going to just focus on SEO. If you really want to scale up, you need to move on to ads, and you can even use the ready-made filters from TrendTrack, which work really well. For example, here we have Wikigem or otherwise anything related to top scaling. I'll let you check those out for yourself. And there are also some filters that work quite well, especially those related to traffic. For example, here, if we look at traffic growth over 1 month, if we've achieved 100%, it means we've doubled the traffic and therefore potentially found a winning product, or at least an ad that's performing really well, which we're trying to make profitable and scale as much as possible. We can try to combine, for example, with French traffic because otherwise we have too many sites. And here we want concrete examples. We can also add, for instance, a creation date from 1 year ago. So we get the most recent stores that have quickly and recently taken off and therefore are potentially run by dropshippers. If we scroll down a bit here, we'll find a few stores. For example, we have Ecom, a store for temporary tattoos that was doing very well, I think, especially for the summer, since it's really trendy for summer festivals and all that. We have Belusia with a non-iron shirt here. So this is the kind of store, this kind of product that has been quite popular and that you can easily add to a niche clothing store. Don't hesitate to add it if you think it's a good product. Unfortunately, in reality, I checked the reviews on Trustpilot and they're really getting slammed with 1-star ratings, so I would avoid it. Here, for example, we have cargo pants. Same thing on a clothing niche store. It's easy to add and you can advertise it on Google Ads, making regular sales quite easily. We have other sites here, but I'll let you look for everything that's available in France. For example, you can simply set it to worldwide, and what's also good is to limit it to just 10 products maximum. That way, you see stores that don't have a lot of SKUs or references, and generally they're trying to do a good job for the customer experience with a quality product. What we can find includes all kinds of shapewear stores. Here we have an underwear store, boxes, and here again serums or creams for hair to help it grow, all things like Batana, which has also been quite popular. Well, unfortunately on AliExpress, they're all fakes, but I know that this kind of product generates a lot of sales, and then you can even search using filters, for example, by keyword to find competing products in your niche. Here, for example, there's Batana, so let's try to see which Batana stores are doing really well right now. We have Trigrows, they only have 5 products, and they have an estimated traffic of 264, which is pretty good. Here we have Try Botanics, which has an estimated traffic of 124, also pretty good. So these are really big stores that are performing worldwide, like Botanics Hair, and we can see that there are a lot of competitors, and in the end, there's still a lot of traffic. I get the feeling this is a really big market, and you can simply look for this in France. Are there any in France? We have 2 Batana oil stores that have just started, Prestige Glow. Okay, so for now, there aren't that many generating traffic in France. Maybe it's just a trend in the States, but maybe it will come to France soon, for example. Next on X here you have, then here on X you have Arbishante, one of the founders of TrendTrack, who shares one of his favorite filters with around 34,000 in monthly traffic and an ad creation growth of over 100% over 3 months. And he also points out that it's not a bad idea to apply filters to the Shopify apps used by stores like Triple Whale or True Profit, because generally these are stores that really generate significant revenue and pay close attention to their profits and accounting, so they're also high potential stores. Here quickly you can set, for example, 20 to 104 in traffic 3 months since the creation of ads and 100% growth created, for instance, a year ago. And if you want, you can add the applications you want to filter in order to find relevant stores. And then you can scroll and look for stores that might be interesting to launch in dropshipping. Then here with TrendTrack V2, the new update, they have trending ads, which is really super powerful with filters, just as strong as trending shop. But here it's based on everything from the ads library. So this allows you to find all the winning creatives to get ideas for niches or creative ideas to use and adapt for the products you're launching in ads. So this isn't really the kind of tool I use or explore for now because I'm still fully focused on SEO and Google Ads, which is what brings me the most money. But eventually, of course, if I plan to launch Meta Ads, I'll definitely try to get as much inspiration as possible from it and make the most out of this tool. And there you go, I've shared with you my entire methodology for researching niche opportunities and high potential products that I could add to my stores. Feel free to try out this app yourself. Don't forget that you can use the promo code PING10 to get a discount if you use this app, which is constantly evolving and made in France. And that's it. I can only recommend it to you. It's the tool I use for all my competitive monitoring.